Hey! Oh no, what it's yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the famous waterbed. Lovely piece of equipment, if you like it, and it goes very well indeed. Bounces up and down all night long. And here we have shelves on the wall. Here we have our cupboard, and there's the door. And now let me show you around this way. The window. Does this look like an ordinary window, please, ladies and gentlemen? It does, but if we look to the top, what can we see? Does it come out in film? Let's look higher. Yes, you can just see the beginnings of it there. This is our ceiling around the window. We sealed up the whole window, plastic around the whole window, down the sides. Whole window sealed off. The shades are down on the window. Everything is sealed as much as possible, and so nothing can get in that way. Over here, who was that over there? That's you. What are you doing in here? Are you allowed in this room?
I'm trying to get a bottle.
A bottle? I think it's in your bedroom, Alon. Go and have a look in your bedroom.
This bottle.
Which bottle?
This bottle.
Alright, go and get that bottle then.
No, I can't read.
Yes, you can.
I can't read it.
Right, come here. Give me a hand. And I'll let you get up on the bed. Okay, now go and get that bottle. And once you get that bottle, go and get down.
Oh, but it's a special bottle for...
Oh, is it? I can't even see. Sorry. Oh, you shouldn't have had it out.
I have it out because it's for the...
Yeah, we should have put it in the cupboard. I didn't realise. Right, now you got that bottle. No, you're not having that now.
Well, he can have a... This bottle is only for this room. This bottle stays in this room.
Yeah, this is his special bottle. When there's a special war, i.e. situation, then he's having this bottle. It's staying in here permanently. I was going to explain to you something about this room. This is the door here. See, door shuts.
As long as the loan's
actually the
on
smoothest
bed,
of
then
doors,
mine
but the
gets
door
on
shuts.
bed.
I put foam all around the doors. Here on the door jamb. I hope this is in focus for you because it's totally out of the focus as I look at it.
Well, you can't
I'm touching the door frame and the foam around it. Up above
Hey,
here,
you want to brush your teeth,
we've got
Maya?
a boidum, I think it's called. But above the boidum I have a plastic which, in the event of emergency, we let down, let it all down and seal it all up, and then we stay in this room. This is our war room, and we stay in here with our food over here, radios. Can you see your battery, Sophie?
No, okay.
Torches, lights, radios, batteries. You name it, we have it all in here. Cassettes, music, as long as there's electricity.
Pizza.
And we just stay in here. Now in the cupboard here.
Excuse me, Alone. Are you playing with
it
Iman's cassette
doesn't look
tapes?
like you get much light in there. But if you look down there.
Okay, Alone and Maya are playing with the stereo. Can we please go out of this room?
Right. Down there, and there you go.
What?
There's lots of tins of food, diapers, and bottles, bags, all sorts of things they told us to keep and store in our room.
Alone,
We've no idea how long we're actually going to be staying in the room.
Now turn
And then, another two things to show you.
Turn it on again.
Right up the top here, right at the top of the top of the
Okay,
top
now press
of
the
the
one
top.
on the bottom.
You see those plastic long bags? Those bags.
Okay, that's right.
Those bags up there, I think that's in English even.
Don't spend too much time in here, Stu.
Oh, okay, that bag's in there, so don't open.
Okay,
It's
this
actually
bottle
upside
stays
down.
in the room.
Those are the tents for the children. Those are the classic tents for the children to stay in. Okay, we're out of here now. We're walking back along the corridor, and we're continuing our look around the house. So we're walking down the corridor. Next room we come to over here is the laundry room, if you can look in there.
Yeah, that's Alone's bottle.
No. That's our washing laundry thingy. There's the drying machine, And the laundry, it's in a little room there and it's all tucked away very neatly and nicely. We walk on a bit further down the corridor and then we come to our third bedroom. This is our spare room in here. This is our desk, computer, and we some of our bookshelves and our storeroom. All sorts of odds and ends we keep in this room. And this is also Sophie's bedroom when she comes here. So we have this whole room here, all set aside for her. There's the bits of wire for the rest of the camera. And we're just looking around the rest of the room, as you can see there. That's the bed. The bed goes around the corner. This is basically now the back of the bathroom, if you recall. Still got plenty of boxes which I haven't unpacked. I need to unpack those, put shelves in there instead. This room, this where we're looking at right now, was actually a door. And we took out the door, sealed it up with a insulated wall, put in a proper window here, and just did a wonderful job. Very, very pleased with all the work that was done here. You cannot tell anything there. This is also a new wall because there's loads of pipes over this wall. And here, this wall over here, which I'm touching now, that's a sewerage pipe for the whole building, and you can't smell, see, know anything. It's just a well done piece of work from the top right down to the bottom, to the ground. Goes well. Another pipe over there. It's all going on. Okay, we're going out this room now. It's a very funny shaped room. It's an L-shaped room, but it's what we got, and it's useful. Okay, and now we come into the lounge. Oh dear, I hear some crying. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Crying doesn't sound good, but... So we're now looking around the lounge. As usual, it's very tidy and neat. It's just typical of us. And that's our lounge area. We had about 20 people here on Saturday night for a folk song evening. And we got everyone in, had a good time, and it went very well. And over here, this half wall is all new. This wasn't here, neither was that wall. It was all built. This is our architect who's doing a wonderful design thing here. There's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party vegetable table, zoo type affair. This is also new, our double doors. We're in the kitchen now. This is double doors out to the garden. Again, all built brand new. Here was 2 tiny windows when we moved in here. And there's the rest of the kitchen area and the fridge and the sink in there. Everything like that. And here, la pièce de la résistance of the kitchen. Sophie knows all about this. This is it. This is the microwave. By virtue of Sophie Cohen, used just this evening to defrost the steak and make it very tasty and edible. Thank you very much indeed, Sophie. Would you like to have a look at to see some artwork of our children? Yes. Our children are born budding artists. Let me take that one off in a moment. Here we have a piece of handiwork from Alon. Not bad, eh? Now moving over, Maya. I think it's pretty good stuff, really. I'm pretty impressed with it. Okay.
This is the time. Not yet 8 o'clock. Alone is reading a good night story to the kids in the bedroom. And nobody's crying. Here, maybe we can stand outside the door and listen in. Good night.
The White House says it is resigned to use of force to oust Iraq from Kuwait, but stresses it's still not too late for Iraq to back down peacefully.
Good evening, this is the IBA News from Israel Television in Jerusalem. I'm Deborah Reamer.
I'm Len Brewer. In tonight's other headlines, British Foreign Secretary Douglas Hurd says Britain will consider using nuclear weapons in the Gulf if Iraq unleashed them.
Oh my God.
Baghdad braces for imminent attack, and the IDF spokesman says even if attacked by Iraq, Israel will respect the territorial integrity of Jordan and Syria. Now, tonight's lead story.
It's now 13 hours since the UN deadline for Iraq to leave Kuwait ran out. At the confrontation lines along the Kuwaiti-Saudi frontier, all is quiet as far as we know. All eyes today were on Washington and Baghdad. In Washington, President Bush was reported to be resolute and at peace with himself. But for the moment, no decisions have been taken, or at the very least announced. All there was the White House spokesman's statement about being resigned to use force, with the door still open to a peaceful resolution.
In Baghdad, all is calm as Iraqis brace themselves for what they believe will be an imminent attack by Allied forces. John High has more in this report.
In Baghdad, the day dawned foggy as the United Nations deadline arrived. Traffic on normally crowded streets was at a minimum, with many Iraqis reportedly having left the capital for the countryside. Saddam Hussein assumed complete command of his army today. Iraqi radio said Saddam would direct the battle, but he would be assisted by his commanders. Yesterday, Hussein was in Kuwait visiting frontline troops and taking time out to pray. British medical units in the Gulf say they're ready for any conflict. They've been conducting mock disaster drills in recent weeks. The medical officials say they're also prepared to treat any victims of a chemical weapons attack. In a village near the Saudi-Kuwaiti border, residents are packing up and moving, saying they fear a possible attack by Saddam Hussein that would involve chemical weapons. And Kuwaiti refugees in Saudi Arabia say they're eager to return to their homeland. This is John High for IBA News.
In the opening hours of a Gulf conflict, Iraq will find itself subjected to a massive aerial bombardment. The air war will likely involve the use of cruise missiles and high-tech stealth bombers. More in this report from NBC.
The United States can be expected to challenge the old equipment with as many as 500 state-of-the-art missiles fired from Navy ships. Right on the exhaust of the missiles will be more than 2,200 warplanes striking vital targets. Pentagon officials say that the first 24 hours of the air war will be the most violent single day in the history of warfare. 500 Tomahawk cruise missiles, which have a range of 700 miles and can hit a target within 25 feet of center, will be used first to cripple or soften up air defense batteries, radar sites, and Iraqi communications. Stealth fighters will then go after Saddam himself and his military leadership in command bunkers. The guiding policy will be to decapitate the leadership. Said one general, if we don't kill him, we guarantee he won't be able to telephone home. Virtually every military expert, both in and out of the Pentagon, expects the U.S. to have complete air superiority by day 2 of the conflict. Then officials say the air campaign will be relentless against what has been described as the world's 4th largest military and the factories which support it. From the air, all nuclear, chemical, and biological research and production facilities will be attacked. All that while U.S. ground forces hunker down, and the wait could be more than 10 days. That long because carpet bombing by B-52 bombers of Iraq's defensive positions in Kuwait is expected to last a week or more. The military objective will be to sap the Iraqi army's will to fight. Inside Kuwait, Iraqi engineers have built 1,000 miles of new roads to support more than 300,000 men in the trenches. With complete air superiority, no supplies or reinforcements will be able to move on those roads. It is believed that American military commanders have told the president that air attacks over 10 days could mean that Iraq will surrender early, and that U.S. ground casualties may be very, very low if those forces are ordered to mop up inside Kuwait. For today, Fred Francis, NBC News, Pentagon.
The White House spokesman just sent a personal message to all correspondents in Baghdad, urging them to leave. With us again in the studio, military analyst and editor-in-chief of the Jerusalem Report, Hirsch Goodman. Hirsch, good evening.
Good evening.
What's the meaning, the significance of that message?
I think the message is very similar to the message the Soviets sent their diplomats in Egypt and Syria on the eve of the 1973 war. First saying, this is clear, hostile intent. Get out, remain at your own peril.
We've just seen reports of a massive aerial buildup, offensive. Iraqis digging in, fortifying their positions. What's the scenario now?
There are three various scenarios. One, it's almost inevitable, it's almost sure, it's almost 100% sure that the Americans will launch a strike within 24, 48 hours. Probably do this at night, because that's where they have the relative edge. The Iraqis do not have good night-seeing equipment. The Americans have stealth and very good night-seeing equipment. The question is, what targets are they going to go for? Are they going to go just for the elements of the regime, bomb his palaces, bomb his interior ministry, bomb his GHQ, and then say, okay, you've learned your lesson, now let's negotiate? Or are they going to go for a blanket bombing of strategic sites that will minimize American casualties as the war protracts? Or will they go for those missile sites that are also faced at Israel?
Americans now are monitoring those missile sites, and they could theoretically give Israel advance warning about fueling up for launching those missiles. Will they do it?
I don't know whether they will do it or not, and I think that it's been agreed in our talks with the Americans that we will absorb the first blow and we will not preempt. They've asked us to do this, I believe, from all the reports I've read and heard, and I believe we'll abide by this. The question is whether they will go for them as well.
Okay, now let's talk about the lesser of two evils. We've been hearing about conventional weapons and chemical warheads. For Israel, what would be the lesser of two evils?
The truth of the matter is, as bizarre as it sounds, I think this country would prefer a chemical attack. We don't know what the exact ecological aftermath would be in contamination of water, etc., etc. But we do know is that we're very well prepared. Everybody has a gas mask. Everybody has a room. Everybody knows. We listen to the radio. Chemicals fall, you get decontaminated, you walk out, nothing's been destroyed. With a regular conventional attack, it's a matter of luck. These missiles may fall short and fall in the West Bank. They may fall long and fall in the sea. They may fall in a movie house and kill many people. They may fall in an open parking lot and kill no one. In the war against Tehran, the effectiveness of these missiles in a city where they don't have shelters, where they don't have the same civil defense procedures as us, the effect was minimal, 5 to 8 casualties per missile.
First Goodman, thank you very much for being with us tonight. We could talk the whole show, but we have a few more minutes to go.
Thank you.
The public's mood in Israel is still an uneasy calm, but before that report, here's what the IDF spokesman said today. Speaking to hundreds of foreign media representatives, Brigadier General Nachman Shai said it is possible that there will be no more than a few minutes before a chemical weapons attack on Israel. Leah Zinder was there.
It depends very much on the intelligence that we may have at that specific moment once we realize that they are preparing to launch a missile. If it's still in the ground, it may take sometimes few hours, because that's how long it takes to fuel and prepare the missile to be launched. If it's in the air, or if it's the moment of the very launching of that missile, this is a question of few minutes. There are many locations where the missiles are deployed in Iraq, not necessarily a single location, many of them. And they also mobile them from one location to another.
The Army spokesman said there have been no developments since the ultimatum to Iraq expired at 7 o'clock this morning. He could not confirm foreign press reports that Syria was massing troops on its border with Israel. Brigadier General Shai emphasized that even if attacked by Iraq, Israel will do all in its power to respect the territorial integrity of both Jordan and Syria. One reporter wanted to know how Israel could engage Iraqi forces without crossing Jordan or Syria.
Look at the map and figure out what's the best way to get to Iraq.
General,
And then we'll see who is right, who is wrong.
Leah Zinder for IBA News in Tel Aviv.
A general curfew was enforced today in the Gaza Strip, Jenin, Nablus, refugee camps, and some villages in Judea and Samaria. Tomorrow, the civil administration will begin distributing gas masks to residents of Bethlehem, Ramallah, and Kalkilia. Today, they were handed out to hospital teams in Gaza and Bethlehem and to Ramallah prison inmates.
did you seal the room in your house?
Yeah, we're as prepared as we can be.
Throughout the day, Israelis went about their business conscious that the deadline had passed, but without visible signs of panic. Traffic was lighter than usual on the roads, and school children were told to stay home until Sunday. Larry Price reports.
The shops were open as usual in Jerusalem today, although there were fewer shoppers. Some people went about their normal lives, managing to get in a few sets of tennis. The schools and kindergartens were closed. A few children went to the park.
See no reason to keep the kids cooped up at home. Come out, enjoy the park.
But most of the children stayed around the house, either outside or playing inside the sealed room. Jerusalem's Mayor Teddy Kollek visited the city's emergency center, telephone number 106, which has tripled its staff to accommodate the more than 60 calls an hour. Normally, there are only 60 calls a day. There are now volunteers answering calls in English and Russian. Most of the calls were about gas masks.
I hope there will be no war in Jerusalem, but you can never know. You must be prepared for everything. We are prepared for everything. Civil defense and fire brigade and police and so on and so on. We are encouraged by some friends who came here.
I'm here on the 15th, Dafka, on the 15th of the month, because that is a time when American Jews who declare their solidarity with Israel can give some concrete symbolic expression.
Israelis have gone through many wars, and even though this war could break out at any minute, there was more a feeling of calm today in Jerusalem than in the days, perhaps even the weeks, preceding the January 15th deadline. This is Larry Price for the IBA News in Jerusalem.
Looking at the weather now, and it's fair to say rain is in the air. Tonight is going to be partly cloudy with local rain in the north. Weatherman Danny Roop says that there's a cold front heading in our direction. You can expect it to be mostly cloudy with scattered showers tomorrow. The winds will be strong and the seas rough. Maximum temperatures tomorrow, the Golan Heights 12 degrees Celsius, Tel Aviv and the coast 17, Jerusalem 12, Beersheba and the Negev 17, and Eilat 19. Heading for Europe now, weak sunshine in London, Paris and Frankfurt with a maximum of 3 degrees in those cities. Madrid will be 5 and sunny, Rome 14 and partly cloudy, Athens 12 with rain, and Cairo 18 and partly cloudy, whilst in Moscow it'll be -10 and snow.
Before we close, another look at tonight's headlines. Baghdad braces for an imminent attack by U.S.-led multinational force combining 28 nations. British Foreign Secretary Douglas Hurd says his country would use nuclear weapons against Iraq if Baghdad unleashed such an arsenal. And the IDF spokesman says Israel will respect the territorial integrity of Jordan and Syria if forced to counter an Iraqi attack. That's it for tonight's IBA News. Thanks for being with us, and good evening from Jerusalem.
Salam.
Past 3 in the morning, Becky just phoned up to say, come over the radio that Americans are now bombing Beirut, and they've bombed all the missile sites. Nevertheless, we've been told to open up our gas kits, and that's all. So I'm asked to open. I'm now cutting off my beard.
These are the cribs of the kids.
הצו מחייב כל עובד במפעל חיוני להתייצב במפעל שהוא עובד. הצו מחייב גם את העובדים חייבי שירות הביטחון שטרם קיבלו צו לשירות מילואים. לפני כן הודיע דובר צה"ל כי בשל קרבות שפרצו במפרץ ובאמצעי זהירות מבקשים אזרחי המדינה למעט מערך מלח משק לשעת חירום להישאר בבתיהם, לפתוח את ערכות המגן ולהשאירן בהישג יד. כאמור, מי שנמנים על מערך מלח.
You have the specially prepared cribs all there. Okay. Here are our kits. Gas masks, injections, gauze pads in case we need them. And we're just standing by, waiting. Meanwhile, we have 2 gorgeous children asleep in the other room. I just fixed the seal there. I'm boiling our special bottles to go in there. Well, finally got Stuart to shave.
Remember me?
He subjected the people of Kuwait to unspeakable atrocities.
Press conference by
Among
George
those
Bush.
maimed and murdered,
5 minutes past 4.
while the world waited, Saddam sought to add to the chemical weapons arsenal he now possesses an infinitely more dangerous weapon of mass destruction, a nuclear weapon.
סדאם מאיים לא רק בנשק כימי, אלא גם בפיתוח נשק גרעיני.
Saddam Hussein dug in and moved massive forces into Kuwait. While the world waited, while Saddam stalled, more damage was being done to the fragile economies of the Third World, the emerging democracies of Eastern Europe, to the entire world, including to our own
מכניס כוחות אדירים לכווית גרם לנזקים אדירים בכלכלה העולמית.
Together with the United Nations, exhausted every means at our disposal
מיצינו את
to bring
כל
this
האפשרויות
crisis to a peaceful end.
לסכם את הדבר, לסיים את הדבר ולאחרי שלום.
Clearly felt that by stalling and threatening and defying the United Nations, he could weaken the forces.
סדאם חש שהוא יכול לספק על זמן ולהחליש את כוחותינו.
Saddam Hussein met every overture of peace with open contempt. While the world prayed for peace, Saddam prepared for war.
בעוד העולם התכונן לשלום, סדאם
When
התכונן
the
למלחמה.
United States Congress, in historic debate, took its resolute action, Saddam would realize he could not prevail and would move out of Kuwait in accord with the United Nations resolution.
קיווינו שייסוג ברגע האחרון לאחר החלטת הקונגרס. הוא לא עשה זאת.
Instead, he remained intransigent, certain that time was on his side.
לא זז מעמדתו.
Saddam was warned
היה
over
בטוח
and
שהזמן
over
לטובתו.
again to comply with the will of the United Nations.
סירב שוב ושוב לבצע את החלטות האו"ם.
Saddam has arrogantly rejected all warnings.
דחה את כל
Instead, he tried to make this a dispute
האזהרות.
between Iraq and the United States of America. Well, he failed. Tonight,
הוא נכשל.
28 nations, countries
הלילה,
from 5 continents,
28
Europe and Asia,
מדינות.
Africa, and the Arab League, have forces in the Gulf area standing shoulder to shoulder against Saddam Hussein.
פועלים כתף אל כתף נגד סדאם חוסיין.
Hope the use of force could be avoided. Regrettably, we now believe that only force.
עכשיו אנחנו מאמינים שרק הכוח
Prior to ordering
יסיג
our
את
forces into
כוחותיו,
battle,
יוציא את סדאם מחוץ
I
לכווית.
instructed our military commanders to take every necessary step to prevail as quickly as possible,
הוריתי
with the
למפקדים
greatest degree of
להכריע
protection
את המערכה מה שיותר מהר,
for American and Allied servicemen and women.
לחסוך בחיי
I've
אדם
told the
ככל האפשר.
American people before that this will not be another Vietnam.
לא תהיה זאת וייטנאם
And I
נוספת.
repeat this here tonight.
ואני חוזר
Our
על כך.
troops will have the best possible support in the entire world, and they will not be asked to fight with one hand tied behind their back.
הכוחות שלנו לא
I'm
יפחדו
hopeful that this
שידיהם
fight
קשורות.
will go on for long, and
אני
that
מקווה שזה לא
casualties
יימשך הרבה זמן.
to an absolute minimum. This is an historic moment.
זהו רגע היסטורי.
We have in this past year made great progress in ending the long era of conflict and Cold War. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order,
יש לנו הזדמנות לסדר עולמי חדש.
not the law of the jungle,
לא
governs
חוק
the
הג'ונגל.
conduct of nations. When we are successful,
אם
we
נצליח
will be. We
ונצליח,
have a real chance at this new world order.
יש לנו הזדמנות
An order in
אמיתית
which a credible United Nations
לסדר עולמי
use
חדש
its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of
שבו
the UN's founders.
האו"ם יגשים
We have
את
no
מאוויי
argument
השלום.
with the people of Iraq
אין לנו ריב עם תושבי
for
עיראק.
the innocents caught in this conflict. I pray for their safety.
אני מתפלל לשלומם.
Our goal is not the conquest of Iraq. It is the liberation of Kuwait.
אין מטרתנו
It is my
לכבוש
hope
את
that
עיראק,
somehow
אלא לשחרר את כווית.
Iraqi people can, even now, convince their dictator that he must lay down his arms, leave Kuwait,
תקוותנו שתושבי עיראק, אפילו עכשיו,
join the family
יצליחו לשכנע את
of
סדאם
Islamic nation.
שיפנה את כווית.
Thomas Paine wrote many years ago, "These are the times that try men's souls.
תומאס פיין אמר לפני הרבה זמן, אלה שעות ניסוי, מסע ומעש,
Even as
הוא
planes of the
אנשים.
multinational forces attack Iraq, I prefer to think of peace, not war. I am convinced
אני משוכנע,
not only that we will prevail,
לא רק שננצח,